Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And yes, I live and die with my Dodgers, but they're up 4-0 in New York. And if you know anything about the KFI dynamic, producer Michelle, former producer for Bill Handel, and also I would say the keeper of the office lotto pool. She's probably absconded with all our money. But, you know, that's a different discussion for a different day. She hails from New York. And I've never heard her talk about baseball in any way until this week when we found out that the Dodgers and the New York Mets were playing in a National League Championship Series. Hasn't said anything about baseball for the past 35, 40 years. But now, this week, all of a sudden, she's a big-time baseball fan saying, go Mets. And I'm saying, who is this person? I don't know you. You've never said anything about baseball. But I didn't launch. I was very kind. I was very respectful. And I said something to the effect of the Mets suck, go Dodgers. Something like that. Something along those lines. But the Dodgers are up 4-0 right now, and we're going to follow this game all the way. Yes, they messed up in game 2. They gave away home field advantage. They allowed the Mets to tie the series up 1-1. But after the Dodgers win tonight, knock on wood, all will be right in the world. And let me just say good evening to the crew. Good evening to Tawala Sharp, producer of the show. What's going on? I know you don't care anything about baseball, but I care. I care.
I'm glad that your Doyers,
Los Doyers.
I'm glad that your Doyers are 2-1. What are they doing right now?
It's 4-0 in the game. The series is tied 1-1.
Oh, it's 1-1. So if they win, it'll be 2-1. And how many games do they have to endure this?
It's 4 out of 7. Best 4 out of 7. First 1 to 4 in 7 games wins the series. They go to the World Series after this.
How long has it been since they've been to the World Series?
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not bad.
No. But before that, it was
a drought.
They went to the World Series, but they couldn't win the World Series.
Oh.
Yeah. So they have been struggling for the past 40 years up until
40 years. That's more than a struggle.
They won in 88, and they didn't win again until 2020.
You are loyal. Damn.
Oh, yeah, I'm loyal. Either you're a real fan or not. Wait a minute. What about the Lakers? You know, that you have to be with your team in the good times and the bad times.
Purple and gold.
Good times
all day
and bad
long.
times. Good
Purple
times.
and gold all day long.
Okay, and the Lakers have sucked for a while, with the exception of when they won, you know, during the pandemic.
Yeah, but basketball's fun to watch.
I will say this. Baseball is much more enjoyable in person. You have to go to the game. You can't just watch it on TV because you only get a very small frame of what's going on. You can't see the runners in full or the shift, the defensive shift in the outfield. You can't see all the signs. The guy who's on the third base coach and the first base coach, and you have the players in the dugout trying to distract the other players on the field. You can't see all that on TV.
Oh, okay.
It's a much better experience. Like when Amy King hosts a wake-up call, she usually invites me to a game or two each year, and I usually go. It's a wonderful experience when you're actually there. You have a greater appreciation. In fact, it's one of the few sports, I would say, which is much more enjoyable listening to on the radio. Much better to listen to. It's boring if you're just watching on TV, but listening to it, it's almost like the bird's eye. It's almost like the theater of the mind type of way that you can enjoy it. It's far better. It's not a great TV product, and they haven't quite figured it out how to make it more enjoyable for the disinterested person like you.
Now,
and Mark,
I could hear, depending on who's calling the game, that could be exciting. But a friend of the show, Adam Contras, he has a great thing that he's developing to kind of give people a bird's eye view of what's happening on the field. I'd like to see something like that happen.
And that's the future of all televised sports. He does, when he was in the studio, he was showing us his virtual reality presentation of live sports. That is the future. I was talking with Tim Conway Jr. Before we came on, talking about Cosm and how they're using this immersive experience where you're at the game, but you're actually just at a restaurant with stadium seating. So it's a way that people can enjoy televised sports, but not in the traditional way that we've all known, just sitting around a TV, because they need to find some way to get the non-sports fans like a Mark Ronner, like a Stefan, like a Tuwala Sharp. I'm not trying to be dismissive. I'm being very serious because they need you to find a reason to tune in as well. Good evening, Mark Ronner.
Listen, I don't care about baseball, but there's no greater pleasure on earth than sitting through a Cubs game in Wrigley Field with an insanely expensive beer. That's fun.
But then you understand exactly what I mean. Enjoying baseball is not always about the sport itself.
Oh, no.
It's about the experience of being in the stadium. And for me, I don't drink beer with the exception of when I'm going to a Dodger game. And then when I go to a Dodger game, then I'll have a beer. Then I'll have 2 hot dogs. It's about the totality of the experience. And we talk about the communal experience of the movies. It's very much the case in baseball.
Yeah, also you want to find a city with some fun drunks that aren't like crazed, violent drunks, and Chicago has really good drunks. I still don't have a good sense of what kind of drunks LA has because I never go anyplace.
No, they're angry, they're violent,
okay,
they're not special. Just trust me. They're garden variety drunks.
I see. Okay.
You know, it's not like you say, hey, you know, I'm self-aware of my own city. I love LA, but I would never say that LA has the best sports fans. We do not. We are some of the worst sports fans.
Violent? Are they violent?
Yes, they're violent, temperamental, bandwagony. You know, one of the biggest criticisms of Dodgers fans was that we would leave the game early. The game would still be in doubt, and we would leave it in the 7th inning with about maybe an hour left of the game. Why? Because we're trying to beat the traffic. I mean, the traffic is a real thing, but it's not a good enough reason to leave a sporting event.
Cubs games are so much fun, and I just like Chicago. I love LA, and I'm happy I moved here 6 years ago, but I like the kind of sports fan who's going to spill his beer on me a little bit, and then to make up for it, offer me a drink of the beer.
Oh, no. That's not going to happen in LA.
Okay, Mark.
Okay. No, that is not going to happen.
What happens instead?
Probably a fight.
Get shot in the face?
Yes. Or worse. I mean, if you just did a basic Google search of violence at LA sporting events, you will see a cornucopia of listings where fans get out of pocket in the parking lot, in the stadium. And so it's one of those things where I know the LA fan. They're not great. All right. I love my team. I don't like the fans who love my team.
Yeah, that's not so much fun.
Yeah. Hi, Stefan. Just saying
hello,
hi.
Mo.
Stefan does such a great job with the show behind the scenes. I meant to tell him last night he was choosing all the bumpers. He just made the show chef's kiss. Mwah. It was great. It was great.
Also, I watched like literally 2 30-second videos of the Cosm. That would make me go to a sports event.
Right.
And it's really cool because you just one half is like stadium seating and you see every angle and you don't have to deal with, as many people, and it's air conditioned.
It's air conditioned. You don't have the lines that you would normally see if you're trying to get concessions or beer or something like that. It makes it a much more enjoyable experience. You don't have to deal with the parking issues. And if you can feel like you're at the game without having to actually go to the game, that sometimes isn't enough. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And Mark, I know you're going to have something to say about this. When we come back, Americans' trust in media, it remains, not is now, but it remains at an all-time low.
Yeah, go figure, huh?
Wonder why.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Did you know that Americans are continuing to register record low trust in mass media? And in the definition of mass media is the problem. But regardless, 31% of Americans express a great deal or fair amount of confidence. Only 31% express that confidence in the media to report the news fully, accurately, and fairly. And that's similar to last year's number of 32%. But let me just stop right there. The whole idea of mass media, the thinking that all media is the same. Media, we're talking about radio, television, social media, but in radio is that public radio, and commercial radio. In television is that public television, commercial television. Are we looking at PBS, which is public television, and ABC, which is broadcast television, and also Fox News, which is cable television, the same way? they're not governed by the same rules. But people have varying levels of expectations with those different media. But also, you can talk about newspapers. Newspapers, television, and radio, in terms of trust, first fell to 32% in terms of confidence back in 2016, as if nothing was going on that year, and also fell to 32% this year. For the third consecutive year, more U.S. adults have zero trust in all the media, 36%, than trusted a great deal or fair amount. Another 33%, a third of Americans express not much confidence. I wonder, and Mark, I do want your opinion on this. I know you have to do the news.
No,
which is part and parcel of this conversation. I wonder how many Americans understand the distinction between cable news and broadcast news. I wonder how many Americans understand what it means to be on cable news and how it's not governed by the FCC, as opposed to ABC, NBC, CBS, which are governed by the FCC because they're using the public airways. That's why the FCC is involved with them and not cable. I wonder if people know the difference between what you do, Mark Ronner, as a news anchor, and what I do as opinion and editorial as a personality. Because if they did, I think, in other words, if there was a better literacy quotient regarding media, I think they would have greater trust in quote unquote mass media. And you know what they say, if you don't know anything, then everything's a conspiracy. I think we're dealing with that in the perception of quote unquote mass media. Where do you come out on that?
Well, I'll tell you, there has been so much disinformation from propaganda outlets, and that has devalued the news all across the board, even from legit news outlets. I mean, don't forget that Fox had to pay, $787 million. Newsmax is now backpedaling. The Gateway pundit, another...
Newsmax just settled, by the way.
Okay. Yes. Gateway settled another suit. People don't know what to believe amid all of that. They can't always tell the difference between what's on, say, ABC and what they read on Fox or Newsmax. And even legit news outlets can't always be trusted to say what people see with their own eyes.
Yeah.
Look at how, say, the New York Times whitewashes so many things with such neutral, bland,
trying to both sides, everything
to the point of misleading language. Whether it's false equivalence or phony objectivity or whatever, there's a reason I've been saying ever since I got into the news business decades ago that you will often hear more truth on late night comedians than you will in the news, because they don't go out of their way to be so careful because they're afraid of offending anybody, anywhere, ever. And I got to also say, the constant attacks on the free press by people who don't want to be held accountable for the things they say and the things they do, that doesn't help either.
And also, there is a profit component to this. Yes, ABC, NBC, CBS back in the day were governed by profit. They were businesses, and they are businesses today. But now it's a completely different monster where the mass marketing of the news industry has made it where they're more concerned with eyeballs than delivering the information in a way which is factual, actual, and above reproach.
This is an important point, and I'm glad you got to this. Networks used to treat news as a loss leader and a public service.
Explain loss leader, because I don't think everyone knows what you mean by that.
Not a profit center. It's something they do for the public good that they don't expect to be a money-generating endeavor. You give people the news because it's a public good to give people the news, and it's how you give back for using the community's airwaves. And I got to say, you do draw a legit distinction between broadcast, cable, internet. The FCC controls broadcast, FTC controls cable. But when you really think about it, it's all the public's airwaves. I don't care what anybody says. This has to start getting regulated into Kingdom Come, because we have seen the results of all the disinformation, whether it's people dying from COVID disinformation, X% of the population. I think last I saw 70% of Republicans still don't believe the 2020 election was legit. We can't have that and still function as a society.
Well, let's connect the dots. If you say 70% of Republicans don't believe that the 2020 election was legitimate, And we don't also say that Fox News and also Newsmax had something to do with that belief, who were also sued almost into oblivion and had to settle, then we're not having an honest conversation because one impacts the other. And also, remember last night we were saying politics, we weave politics into everything when more times than not, it really doesn't have a place in everything. Talking about the media, currently, 54% of Democrats and 27% of independents and 12% of Republicans say they have a great deal or fair amount of trust in the media. Independents' trust matches the record low in 2022, while Democrats and Republicans are statistically similar to their historical low points. In other words, if you go through the numbers, there is a political alignment or willingness or unwillingness to believe the media as an extension of their political beliefs.
Yeah, it's all confirmation bias. So ask yourself, what's changed between when we were kids and there was Walter Cronkite and all the main news anchors that everybody trusted, and now? Well, one answer is that they're just not all as trustworthy. Flatly, we're being fire-hosed with propaganda 24 hours a day, and that'll knock anybody off balance.
And it extends beyond just the perceptions of media. The news media may be the least trusted group among 10 U.S. civic and political institutions involved in the democratic small d process. The legislative branch of the federal government, consisting, of course, of the Senate and the House, is rated about as poorly as the media, with 34% trusting it. So it's not just disbelief in the media. It's disbelief in our longstanding institutions, including the Oval Office, including Congress, including the judicial branch and the Supreme Court and the federal judges.
Yeah, when you have all-out tribal war between two sides on every possible cultural front in your society, nothing's going to get done. This is the least productive Congress in, I believe, the country's history, isn't it?
Yes, and it's getting worse. And we say, like, well, what did such and such administration get done? And we don't know our basic civics, so there's nothing that a president can do unless the House and Senate pass something and then the president can sign something. But we have this belief that presidents are supposed to, are you better off 4 years now than are you better off now than 4 years ago, kind of disregarding the standstill that we have in Congress. We could be much better, but we refuse to allow either party to govern.
It's all connected. And if every single thing is my side against your side, and I'm going to block you and dump on you no matter what in the face of any evidence or anything else, how do you expect anything to function?
I don't expect it to function. My question is, how do we get back to the place where it could function? How do we get back to where we were, let's say 20 years ago, with a modicum of belief in our pillars, our institutions, and also our press?
Well, one answer to that is you must regulate all the disinformation. And you watch the people who howl about putting a clamp down on disinformation. Those are never the good guys.
And this is why I was so disappointed that Smartmatic and also Dominion settled. Well, I think there needed to be a public accounting of what was done, who was responsible, and why. You don't settle for $787 million unless you are egregious in your actions to the point of those were company ending lawsuits.
It should have been. And I don't understand how we're not all on the same page with the simple sentiment, I don't want to be lied to, even if it's by somebody on my own side. I just want the straight news.
Because America's not ready for that yet. And there's going to be a price to pay for it.
Well, your country needs you, Mo.
Well, I'm not running for office. That's for damn sure. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Have I said I told you so lately? Have I said it tonight?
You never say that.
No. Have I said it tonight? I told you so. Did I make any reference to calling it as it relates to P. Diddy? Did I say I told you so lately?
Not yet.
Okay. Stephen, have I said it today to the best of your knowledge?
Not today. I don't think so.
Okay. Mark, do you have any remembrance of me saying I told you so today?
I'm looking forward to the novelty of hearing you say I told you so for the very first time
Here
ever.
it comes. Get ready, because I do remember I said that there would be more accusers which would come forward. I remember I said exactly that there would be someone else who would say, did he attack me? Did he assaulted me? Did he rape me? And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying that after working in the business for so many years, there are patterns, and there was a modicum of knowledge about people in this business and what they were doing. It should not surprise anyone. Well, it would surprise you if you weren't paying attention, but another person has come forward and alleged that Diddy gang raped her and did so as payback for allegedly making the claim that Diddy was involved in Tupac Shakur's murder. This was something, let me just, before I get to the story, the whole idea of Tupac Shakur being murdered at the height of the so-called East Coast, West Coast rivalry was something which hung over hip-hop music for a long time. And I was in the business and I lived through it. I worked through it. In fact, when I was working at Interscope Records, Tupac's mother was working with us at Interscope Records. So it was something that we were always thinking about. And working at Interscope Records, Tupac's mother was there, and you would have Suge Knight, who also worked there. It was a weird, weird time, but it was real in the sense of the belief that Diddy had something to do with Tupac's murder. We couldn't prove it. And we didn't even talk about it out loud. I don't know about you, Twal. It was just one of those things where, going back to consequences, you know that someone might have had something to say and it might have been violent.
Yeah, we tried our best to dance around the facts of what was happening, especially considering that Biggie was killed just down the street from our station. It was all too real with us in the urban music community to be mouthing off at that time.
Use that as some background. The lawsuit claims that Diddy, with the help of other unknown accomplices, used a TV remote to rape the accuser, and she does put her name on the lawsuit, Ashley Parham. Parham had allegedly virtually met Diddy during a FaceTime call started by a man she had met outside a bar back in February of 2018. And in an attempt to impress people with his famous friend, this guy wanted to get Diddy on the phone to impress her. Parham shared that she wasn't impressed with this man knowing Diddy, and she said that she thought Diddy had something to do with Tupac's murder. On March 23rd, 2018, allegedly, Parham was invited to the man's house here in California. This was filed in California, so this is a local story. To help with his cancer medication, which he used as a pretense or pretext to set her up to be assaulted by Diddy. This man, who I guess was trying to impress her, and Diddy were working together in this. Combs approached Parham with a knife and threatened to give her a quote-unquote Glasgow smile. Among the several defendants is Christina Coram, Combs' alleged manipulator-in-chief, who allegedly called off the rapper's knife advancement, saying the Glasgow smile would be a turnoff to their potential clients they would sell Parham to. Tawala, there's absolutely nothing in this lawsuit that surprises me. Yes, they're allegations. Yes, they've not been proven. No, they're not criminal. Yes, it's a civil lawsuit, but there's nothing in here, given my time in the business, which strikes me as even odd at all.
No, not even the idea of a Glasgow smile and all this. I mean, this is more of, and I believe if you go back and listen to the podcast, it might have been yesterday, it might have been Friday, where you said there will be another Diddy Accuser.
I did say
Mark
that.
my words.
I did.
You can write it down.
Yeah.
There will be another one. Fuchs, it's on the podcast, right?
Yep.
Absolutely is.
All
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So I did say it, and I did call it out in the moment that there would be another, and I wanted to memorialize it as I was saying it, because I was looking forward to the opportunity to say, I was right.
And you can, as they say, you have the receipts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have the receipts, and I believe there are going to be more receipts because the momentum is increasing, not decreasing. As more people come out, more people are now still deciding to come out. They are in conversation with different legal representatives, and they're considering where they're going to file, what statutes they're going to try to file under. This is a process for each and every individual. So it's not all going to be at once. And if you notice, some have been in New York, some have been in Texas, some have filed in California because they're looking at the different legal options.
Now, what do you say, looking at the other side of the whatabouts and those who are crying foul about another powerful man being targeted and taken down? What do you say about the fact that most of these are civil suits seeking financial restitution versus criminal charges?
In most cases, and I have to generalize, in most cases, the statute of limitations has expired. There have been some law changes like the Survivors Act in New York, and there was one law in California which allowed like a 2-year grace period, at least on a civil suit side, to file these lawsuits. And unfortunately, if there are no criminal options, if there's no criminal recourse, then all you have is a civil recourse. I don't look down on the alleged victims because they're filing a civil lawsuit. Let me give you a perfect example. We're talking about Ashley Parham in this particular suit. This situation shows that she was treated at a hospital and had a rape kit performed. During the subsequent investigation, Parham gave a statement to the Walnut Creek Police and filed a report with the Orinda Police Department. So there is a record, a contemporaneous record of what happened and when it happened that is on the record that people can refer to. You can. It's not like she said, well, she just made this up or she just decided to come forward. No. That's not true. That is absolutely not true. That may not be the case for everyone who's accusing him. But in this instance, oh no, there are police reports to back up what she said. Now, she didn't mention Sean Combs' name in those suits, but it's enough for investigators to go on. It's enough for them to corroborate what she has said with what she did years ago, back in 2018. They're going to be, wait, are we rolling tape? Are we rolling tape? I just want to make sure that we're getting this one on tape. This is Wednesday. What's the date? Wednesday the 16th? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. On Wednesday the 16th, Mr. Mo Kelly is again going on record and saying that there will be other Diddy accusers, plural, by next week. I wish I could give some odds on this because I could make some people some money. They're going to be other accusers. They're going. Tawala, you want to take that bet? You're going to think that
no,
okay.
That's a fool's bet. Mark,
what side do you want to bet for or against me?
The floodgates are open. We wouldn't make very much money.
Okay, Stefan, you're my true believer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, they're going to be more, and they're going to be more. I would say horrible accounts. Why? Because usually, and I'm not going to say Diddy specifically, but usually when you're talking about these pathological behaviors, they've been going on for decades. So you're going to find people in each and every decade who allegedly been victimized. We talked about this with Bill Cosby. People want to say, oh my gosh, they're coming from the 1960s, 1970s. And you find that, wow, this has been going on for actually 30, 40, 50 years. Diddy's not that old, but you'll find that this behavior allegedly has been ongoing for the past 30 plus years. All I can say is none of this is new if you knew anything about what was going on in the industry at that time. And I do. I was there in the sense of we knew what people were allegedly doing. And we didn't say anything as best we could because we didn't want to get killed. Fair enough? You know, I want to live. Marcel, who's one of my friends who worked at Interscope with me, who's here doing photos for the show, he's laughing because he knows I'm telling the truth. He knows I'm telling the truth because it was a dangerous time. And you're just now getting a sense of how dangerous it was because people were coming forward. And this woman is alleging that she was raped for making a remark about Diddy having something to do with Tupac's murder. And then, if any of this is true, she was set up and raped with a physical object. Now, what do you think they would have done to me? I'm not trying to be funny. That's how serious all this is. And there will be more victims. I told you before, and I'm telling you again.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let's talk about Waymo and how a former Twitter engineer got a Waymo robot taxi to give her a 6.5 hour ride around San Francisco because the Waymos are just too stupid. They don't know how to actually do anything. 6.5 hours. No. 6.5 hours. Sophia Tung, a former Twitter software engineer, said that Waymo had given her a promo code for a free ride after the engineer set up a live stream that pointed to a Waymo depot, where they had all those Waymo cars honking their horns at one another. So for the inconvenience, they gave her a free ride coupon. What she did was then, okay, well, I got your number. I'm going to game the system. She got in a Waymo with the free ride, and she decided before she got to her original stop, she would keep changing that final destination. She'd get, let's say, 9/10 of the way there. And then she would decide, let me change to another location on the other side of the city. And in San Francisco, it takes forever to get from one side to the other. And she was crisscrossing the city. And in fact, she picked up friends along the way, knowing that the Waymo won't know that it's picking up a new rider if you don't open the door. So she had friends climb in the window. She had friends that she was taking all around the city. And she was originally trying to stay in the Waymo for 12 hours and only lasted 6.5 hours. She modified her diet, making sure that she went to the bathroom and everything early in the morning to make sure that she could stay in the car as long as she could. The takeaway is the car is dumb.
No. The takeaway is people in San Francisco are crooked. This is the same city that tried
Nancy Pelosi into this.
Shut down Waymo with their felonious grandmother getting run over story. Now I don't even believe that to be true. This woman used her wicked Twitter smarts or wherever it was she was at, which is already felonious by itself. What did you see? I was at Twitter and X?
Twitter.
Okay. Great. Oh, we're taking the word of someone who worked at Twitter? At X?
No. Said Twitter. Didn't say X. That's
okay,
pre-Musk.
Whatever. She was probably X'd out of there because of her hate for autonomous vehicles. And this is yet another attack against progress. Do you not see how this woman gamed the system only to be filthy? She planned on being in this thing for 12 hours. What kind of filth bag is she? That she would have her friends climb through the window like some sneak over this. Ooh.
It highlights the inability of the car, number one, and it also highlights the lack of supervision and oversight of the car, where it could be misused in this way. You would think that there would be some sort of, they have cameras around the car, but they can't see what the car is doing. There's no one monitoring that a car is on the same ride for 6.5 hours. You don't see a problem with that?
Oh, Are you defending Waymo's pockets? I mean, what are you doing?
No,
here?
I'm trying to highlight the fact that there are so many gaps in this system. People are only now realizing the limitations because more and more people are using it. And look, it's almost like you're bringing in a black hat, a white hat hacker to show you the holes in your system. There are holes in the system, and it's dangerous. They need to be off the road before someone dies.
That's not dangerous. Someone went joyriding in a Waymo, that's dangerous?
That's right. Just like the joyriding is how you got those street takeovers and everything.
Hey, old
cars.
Man.
Hey, old man. I am old. And
who forgot his days of drag racing in the streets? I don't want to hear you talking about street
Why are you bringing
safety?
up old stuff?
Because you are talking about something that is immaterial to our conversation about the advancement of a self-driving autonomous vehicles. This is yet someone else who actually, I should be thanking this trash bag for taking advantage of Waymo in the way that she did.
Ad hominem.
That's ad hominem.
Look, because
that's a foul.
Because okay,
Party foul.
This tech expert. How about that?
That's better. That's not an ad hominem.
Who only helped Waymo's cause by saying, aha, this is something that we now at Waymo have to take advantage of, fixing the problem. This is not a bad thing. This is actually a good thing. Thank you. Almost cursed at you.
Yes, you did. You almost cursed at her.
Thank you. You fatherless.
Why? Oh, whoa, wow.
Oh, I heard
Wow, you brought her family into it.
Canine of
Oh my goodness. Are you trying to call her
an
what I think that
unwed
you are?
chinchilla. How do you say it?
You don't want to say it, Twala. You
I
want to
don't.
say it. You don't want to say
It's
it.
too rich.
Look,
How about that?
Waymo is a menace. It's a danger and a menace, and they must be stopped.
This woman was actually treated with kindness. This
Why are you trying to
woman
bring
was,
her gender
was,
into it?
was actually
You're a
offered
sexist.
the opportunity
You're a sexist.
to make
Just like
good
Elon
to
Musk.
make good for this hiccup in San Francisco with all the beeping. Waymo said, you know what? We are sorry, ma'am. We will take care of you. Here, a free ride on us wherever you want to go. And what does she do? Just like they do in San Francisco. Let me take advantage of Waymo.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with San Francisco? San Francisco is a beautiful city.
They
It's a
are
lovely
against
city.
progress. They are against Waymo and they are against progress. That's why people are moving out of San Francisco.
Tawala, is Waymo paying you in crypto or in hard cash? Which is it?
Don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that.
He's on the take.
I don't.
He is
appreciate
on the
this
take
at all. This is not right.
Is there-
I am literally speaking up for the advancement of technology. And you know what? Even though people want to cast a side eye at us, at Musk and his Optimus bot, saying it was puppeted, this, that, and the other. Look, at least the man is trying to advance technology, be it through his rocket being grabbed or his,
Yes, his
Hey,
rocket being grabbed. Yes.
Is that like a metaphor?
no, wait, no, that came out wrong.
Is there a
That came
digital
out wrong.
readout? We could see the running totals as they add up and what you're making from all this.
Let's turn around and check the tote board.
Yes.
Shall we?
Yeah, just like Jerry Lewis. Come on.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI is literally the KFI of talk radio. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.